Well, I'm breaking my streak today. This is only months and not years old since its release. This is the Kyosho 2021 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro 110 scale four-wheel drive off-road machine. This is closest to a short course truck, so I'm going to call it a short course truck, which means I'm going to include it in my short course truck roundup. So we've got quite a few here. We've got the Senton, the Mojave 4S, not really a short course truck, but short course desert truck and trophy truck roundup. The YC, the Traxxas, the Hobeo. We've got the Techno, the Pro 4 SC10, as a Pro 2 coming soon. This little $99 DRC. There's the two-wheel drive HPI, ignore the Vorza, and then there's the Kyosho Outlaw Rampage, which is 5 years old and I think discontinued. Now the Tacoma is not a vehicle that we see in Australia here, and I understand it was developed mainly for the USA market in the late 90s, and it's been very popular. We have the Hilux and the Land Cruisers here. Our off-road vehicles are typically more compact than the SUVs and trucks of the USA roads. We have a lot less people. Did you know we have, I think about, 8% of the population of the continental USA, and roughly the same landmass. So, whereas a lot more sparsely laid, and a lot of our vehicles are diesel. So this is a different car to what I'm used to seeing as far as the full-size thing goes. It's a very interesting little thing. You notice it's a tub chassis. Now, this is not a classic review. If this is your first time to the channel, g'day, welcome, thank you for joining me. I don't do reviews in the classical way where we say, oh look, here's the list of specs, this particular brushless motor. This is all Japanese, but it'll be a 3668 motor. That's a decent sized motor, geez. Another Hobbywing 10 ESC and a 9 kilogram servo, which is pretty nice, metal gear, and the whole thing's waterproof. It's the familiar transmitter, KT231P Plus. I couldn't have told you that, but I now have a few of these. They're actually quite comfy in the hand. But what I do here is not really your classic kind of review where we go over all the specs and pull it apart and say, look, this is how the old model was, and look at this different tread on the tires. I'm much more interested in the experience that you might have. So that's what I try and have too. I actually don't know too much about the car. I didn't even know it was four-wheel drive till I looked at the box before I pressed record on this video. Truly. I'm not trying to be dumb and to waste your time, but I'm trying to give you my experienced opinion based on what I see here to give you an idea of what you might have when you open the box. Now, I've never opened this. This one is still sealed. The other one is unsealed. I'm also not an unboxing channel. This is not something I usually do. There we go. So this is my first time opening this. I've never seen it. I wasn't even sure what color I'd got. So look at that. We got the electric lime, I think it was. Right on. Crack this out first. So it'll be a familiar... okay, so already I can tell you these shocks are not going to be the thumb screw adjustable preload. We've got spacers here included. We've got some basic tools including turnbuckle wrench and your box wrench. We've got nylon ball ends instead of stainless steel, another thing worth noting. And we've got some varying different pistons for the shocks. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to show you what you might experience when you get one, if you get one. A couple of things I like about this radio, and I said I've got a few of them because we've got quite a few Kyosho cars here. For a start, it's a 3-channel, which is nice. It's a 3-position switch. For the crawlers, that's a beautiful little winch or 2-speed thing. 4 AA's. I like that you've got adjustable travel here. So you've got full throw forward and back, or if you adjust it, you've got more throw on the accelerator and much less on reverse. For a car like this, I'd suggest this second one would be more what you want. I'm going to leave it as it came out of the box, which is just full travel front and rear. The other thing I like about this is the wheel is actually on an angle. Very comfortable. It's a bit of a reach, even for someone with largish hands. It's a reach for one-handed driving, but this kind of car, it doesn't really matter. I focus on one-handed driving because there are a lot of crawlers behind me here, and that matters to me because when I'm on the trail, I just like to walk, and a lot of us like that. The foam on this wheel is nice. The spring on it's nice. It sounds a bit cheap, but I know from experience that it's not. It feels good in the hand. Nice radio, good enough. All the standard adjustments, and there's a low voltage light flash, when it gets low. So basic, but good enough. A very thorough manual. I can see exploded parts diagrams and adjustment for suspension and whatnot. This I just saw on the one page I opened. This thing has a center diff. Fantastic. So I'm not looking to promote ignorance. I'm not being lazy. I could absolutely spend the time and get to know this car before I press record. But for those who know me, that's not what I'm trying to do here. We're going to learn together about this car if you're not familiar with it. Although at this point, given that it's 8 months old, you probably are familiar with it. I don't ask for people to subscribe to this channel, but I've realized now that a lot of the manufacturers are looking at subscriber levels and not at view counts. My views are very strong. I have about 3,000 a day, 2,500, 3,000 a day, and sometimes more. But nearly 80% of you watching aren't subscribed. It's only a vanity metric, except for in situations like this where manufacturers may well be approaching me to say, hey Craig, check out more cars. Here you go. Now I buy a lot of the stuff here, and I also knock back a lot of the cheap stuff that gets offered to me. And I accept some of the more expensive stuff and some of the cheap stuff if I think it's useful or interesting to you guys. But I just have a sneaking suspicion that these guys are looking at subscriber levels perhaps more than they realize they should be, when views are actually what matters, getting a video in front of eyeballs. So if you like my stuff, or if you like me, or if you like just hanging out, do me a favor, hit subscribe. It'll just help me bring more stuff to you guys in future. It just takes a bit of pressure off me, basically. Thank you very much. Right, well, this is interesting. I'm seeing a lot of body posts under here. And another thing I didn't know about is that it's a beautiful, flat, metal base. Look at that. So it's a plastic tub chassis. But the tub is made by screwing sides on. This is brilliant. Now, this also gives away some of its off-road nous. Look how high that body is. Very, very adjustable. I see body pins on the shafts there, so you can move this whole thing up and down. I see foam, with plastic mounts underneath here. Oh, this is beautiful. So the back is loose, but it is actually sitting on a foam block. How nice is this? The tires are, I mean, these are dirt tires, but they're glued very neatly. There's foam. This is beautiful. Oh, look how solid the A-arms are. Look at that. So you're not going to get a lot of rocks caught up in there. Now I don't see a screw to, like a limiting screw here. So I don't even know what this is worth in America because our prices differ so wildly. I'll look it up on Amazon. I'll throw a link below to it and I'll put that on screen right now. This is how much this car is. I suspect it's going to be cheaper than racing cars. I just don't remember what I paid for it. But that's shown in the lack of adjustment. But oh boy, if it does happen to be cheaper than a lot of other stuff, Kyosho have done a fantastic job. This is really nice stuff. So I see adjustability throughout. I see very thick axles or drive shafts. Like, they're properly thick. The universals are plastic and not metal, which is actually different to what you see a lot these days. Often it's metal CVDs or CVVs or universals. These are plastic universals. Interesting. There's very little rear impact protection. There is on the body, but there's not on the chassis. And I see that cracking. The front is looking better, but this is my first concern I see. The shocks are very exposed. There's no guard in front of them. Some manufacturers, Traxxas among them, and it's nice to have this, they'll either have a bar in front of it, Losi does this, or they'll have the shock inside the A-arm, inside a gap, so that the impact point for the front here is not the actual ball end or the bottom of the shock. So they're quite exposed there. The other thing is that this little bumper thing, as nice as the plastic is on this, it's part of the thing that holds up the body. So you hit or break this hard enough, you lose the car until you can replace or fix it. Many cars have some kind of impact protection on the front. It seems they've favoured looks over utility as far as crash protection goes. I'm not complaining, I'm just observing and noting that. And if you, unlike me, if you drive on your street where there's a curb or a gutter, be aware that a curb smack on that is going to hurt. No side impact protection as far as the thing goes. There's a tub though. There is also location here for things to be screwed on. I suppose you could. One nice thing about this setup though is that the body clips are underneath. The downside is they're really hard to pull off. Ow! That hurts. Ugh. Lots of plastic and reinforcement, but quite a flexible polycarbonate body. Beautifully finished. Beautifully finished. So Kyosho are using a big machine. Not all companies actually have something this big to make a body in one piece. Sometimes they have to use fusing techniques. That's pretty nice. Now we come to the main event. This is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's a beefy, long motor. It's a huge motor, brushless, uncensored, doesn't need to be censored. Longer the can, I think more torque but less acceleration. There's more mass inside it, right? Beautiful. So there's a solid rear middle diff in here. We've got metal with dog bones going to the front and rear. Let's see how stiff that center diff is. It's quite a stiff center diff. I'm holding the front wheels if that's off screen. 3.4 kilos, they say, is the mass of this thing. And look at it. I mean, it's very interesting. Now, this looks like a beefy fiber piece, but keep in mind, it's several pieces screwed together, and the thinnest part of this is actually at the top there. So the rest of it's nice and huge, but it gets quite thin there. It is screwed into the top of the diff cover. It's entirely rigid, as you'd expect. Fabulous, just fabulous. This is not going to be a hard basher, but I bet you it can be bashed hard. Like, I don't doubt it at all. But I think this will perform best on like a solid dirt, just a nice firm but off-road surface. Can't wait to check it out. Bell cranks with adjustable servo saver on the bell crank and not on the servo, which is nice to see. So there's your steering setup. We've got not actually a particularly tight steering angle. The suspension is shorter on the front and longer in the rear, which is not a surprise for this kind of car, and adjustable all round. The battery compartment is designed to hold the thing upright rather than flat. I think I saw that on the box art. Now, also at high speed, if you're turning, these tyres will balloon a little. There's very, very little clearance between the tyre and the chassis. I see some rubbing, but it's going to be on plastic, so not a big deal. So now we should get some batteries in it and see how it drives. Let's do that. So we're on 3S. Tell you what, it's hard to control and there's quite a pull to the left, so we're going to trim it left a bit. Sorry, pull to the right. Now, being a Hobbywing ESC, we can turn up that braking and it needs it. Oh, it's alright. The punch is certainly up higher, and on this damp grass, the tyres struggle for traction a little bit. We're still pulling left, so steering trim for me is a bit past middle. I actually like this braking. Very controllable. Very controllable. What do you think, dog? You're not sure, are you? I'm not either yet, but we're going to find out. Gosh, she's got some boogie. Again, it's 2 and 3S capable, and we're on 3S. I'm hearing the tyres hit the body quite a bit. Oh wow, very stable. That's thanks to the independent suspension on all corners. Didn't roll when it could have. And I'm on about half throttle here. But as far as... Oh, yuck. Okay, so this is not a jumping car. Very little air authority, and you're going to wreck that gorgeous body in no time jumping it. So let's not do that. All right, I've repaired the jump finally. I'm hearing those tyres rubbing on something, but I can't work out what they're rubbing on. This car is going to reward smooth driving more than many other cars will. This is not going to be a hard basher, I suspect. Again, I think it'll take it, but it ain't designed for it. It's designed to look gorgeous and go fast. And those tyres are biting really nicely on this ground. I've tried so hard to remove stones and rocks from this thing. Poor old dog. We've been training every day with crawlers, but not faster. Ooh, okay. So in a controlled jump situation, not bad, not bad. Watch your head, dog. I've got to get used to the angles on this jump too. It's alright, girl. It's alright. Here's a treat. Look. I'm just inching the throttle ever so gently. Really inching it. It's a lovely smooth car to drive. The independent suspension works beautifully. Poor Lana. I had to slow down there for her. Don't want to hit the dog. I'm going to have to stop this soon. She's working herself up. Very stable. No sway bars, and yet very stable. Oh, okay. We've got a body malfunction or something. Let's have a look. It's all right. The tops of the mirrors are actually quite loose. I'm going to have to go find the other one. They don't screw in, they just press in, so I guess you might want to glue that. This guy was half off as well. Like, they lift off pretty easily. The bottom of it bends beautifully, but see how that's coming off? It needs to be pressed on. I didn't mention it, but there are LED buckets in here waiting for LEDs, which is nice, in the front and the rear. But also keep in mind, the inside of the thing is going to get very, very dirty very, very quickly. Everything's damp here, but not super wet. I thought we had a body malfunction because it wasn't sitting properly, and yet it actually is sitting properly. I think there's actually just a lot of flex inherent to the system, like a lot. But that foam is protecting the body nicely. Gosh, it fills up with junk though. I was optimistic when I said it wouldn't bother it too much. We're so full of grass and mud. It's crazy, just crazy. I can speak from experience for the electronics. It's a Max 10, rebranded Max 10. Great ESC. A 3868 motor, really nice. Steering's got plenty of boogie on it. The strength isn't the problem. The throw isn't the problem, even though it's limited. I am having some trouble keeping the thing straight, but it could just be a question of traction. The tires are somewhat hard. There is give to them. I think they'll be best on dry, hard-packed dirt, and probably also asphalt, given just how much road contact there is. It drives fine. It actually jumps fine too in the air. It's not a big air jumper, but a small thing like this, fine, honestly fine. So from this strange top-down angle, I can say I like the Kyosho 2021 Tacoma TRD Pro 110 scale, whatever the rest of it was. It's a nice car. I think I'm going to reinforce the body somewhat. They've done a beautiful job from the factory reinforcing it. It really is nice, but I think it could use a little more. It collects mud and stuff. It's going to reward maintenance, I think, more than some of the cars. You know, many of us have bashes that we drive and then just put away. And you get to the maintenance once you have a breakage, and then you'll clean the basic stuff and then off you go. Then there are the cars that are finicky, where they need love every single drive. This is going to fall somewhere between those two. It's going to reward just a bit of a toothbrush clean to get the dirt out of the moving parts. There's no protection for the suspension. There's no protection for hinges. It's just going to add up. I also don't know how far I trust the body mounting system, but I'll tell you one thing that's good about it. Being so flexible and having these beautiful big foam pads, and not just, you know, and not just having even just these plastic things underneath. That's going to go a long way to protecting the body. Okay, a little bit of glue underneath the top of these guys and that'll help a lot. There might be some other bits that need that too, I'm not sure yet. But my initial assessment is green light, I like it, I'm going to drive it more. By the time I get around to doing this short course truck, desert truck, trophy truck roundup, I'll have put multiple packs through all these cars recently by the time I get to it. Because I want to be able to give you guys a good owner's perspective of the lot of it. That's coming. I mentioned subscribing before. You almost never hear me say it on the channel, but please do if you haven't. I suspect that might actually help me more than I realized before, especially with regards to getting manufacturer support. I have plenty of eyeballs on the screen. That's you guys. Thank you so much. But now we just need to get a few more manufacturers playing along. because otherwise this channel gets extremely expensive to run, and I just suspect subscribing is going to be the way to go. It's free for you. I really appreciate it. Please do it. And also please throw me a like for this one if you're enjoying it. A big thanks to my channel sponsors. Here they are. These are the Scratch Build guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. I've got 3 tiers. The top tier gets your name on the video. The second tier and the top tier get to see this video before it's released to the rest of you. And the bottom tier is supportive. You get the badge and whatever else it was. It's been a while, but check it out. But all your support is greatly appreciated, and the main people I appreciate are you guys watching. Thank you so much for watching. I'll give you more on this in a future video. For an initial drive, I like it. Not the most solid thing in the world, but I don't think it's meant to be. It's just a fun driver. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT. Come.